What happens when the life you've built, the life that seemed to be perfect on the outside, begins to unravel in the most unimaginable way? Tiffany Carlson had everything. She was beautiful, successful, and admired by her thousands of followers as a top influencer. She had a loving husband, Ryan, a respected cop who was known for his commitment to justice. They seemed like the ideal couple, the American dream made real. Their home was beautiful, their future bright, and their love undeniable. But behind the facade of their seemingly flawless life, there was something Tiffany could never have anticipated, something her husband, Ryan, had kept hidden for years, something so shocking, so earth-shattering, it would change everything. In one swift moment, Tiffany's world collapsed. The man she trusted more than anyone, the man she had married, the man she thought she knew better than anyone, was hiding a truth that would not only shatter her, but lead to a brutal and shocking crime that no one saw coming. What happens when the life you thought you knew is exposed for the lie it really is? And more importantly, was it the truth that killed him? Tiffany Carlson had it all. She was living what many would consider a dream life. On the surface, everything was perfect. She was a successful influencer with a large following, admired by thousands for her beauty, charm, and the life she so carefully curated. Her posts were full of smiles, vacations, family moments, and the kind of lifestyle people only dream about. A stunning career, a loving marriage, a beautiful home in a quiet California town, everything seemed flawless. But behind this polished image, something was starting to feel off. Her husband, Ryan, was a respected police officer, known for his commitment to justice and his work in the community. To anyone who looked from the outside, he was the picture of the perfect husband, supportive, strong, dependable. He and Tiffany made the perfect couple. Yet, as the years went on, Tiffany began to notice things. Small signs that suggested there was more to her husband than she could see. Little things. A look that lingered too long, a hesitation when talking about the past, moments when his eyes would dart away, almost as if he was hiding something. But she couldn't put her finger on it. Was she overthinking it? Or was there something deeper that Ryan wasn't telling her? As the tension quietly grew between them, Tiffany tried to ignore it, convincing herself that every marriage has its ups and downs. But the cracks in their relationship were beginning to widen, and it was clear that something was changing. What Tiffany didn't know was that the truth, buried beneath years of secrecy, was about to be exposed in a way no one could have ever predicted. The discovery would leave her world shattered, and the repercussions would reach further than she could ever imagine. But what was the secret? What had Ryan been hiding for all these years? It was a seemingly ordinary day when Tiffany Carlson's world was turned upside down. She had no idea that, within the span of a few hours, everything she thought she knew about her husband, and their life together, would come crashing down. Ryan had always been the one she leaned on, the man she trusted with everything. He was her partner, her confidant, and her protector. But on that day, everything would change forever. The truth, the secret Ryan had carried for years, was about to be revealed. The discovery wasn't something Tiffany had expected. It didn't come in the form of a confession, a moment of honesty in a quiet conversation, or a sudden outburst. No. Instead, it was something she stumbled upon, an unexpected piece of the puzzle she had never even known existed. It was in the form of a letter. A simple, handwritten note, tucked away in a drawer in their bedroom. She had never thought to look there. It was just another place she hadn't given much thought to. But when she opened it, everything shifted. The letter was filled with raw emotion, with words she could barely comprehend in the moment. There, in front of her, Ryan confessed to something she never could have imagined, his true identity. The man she had known for years, the man she had loved and built a life with, wasn't who he had said he was. Ryan was transgender. He had been living a double life, one that he had kept hidden from her, and, by extension, the entire world. The shock was overwhelming, and Tiffany stood frozen, reading and rereading the words in disbelief. But as the weight of the discovery sank in, the questions flooded in as well. Why hadn't Ryan told her? Why had he kept such a monumental part of his identity locked away, buried beneath layers of lies and secrecy? The confusion was almost unbearable. The anger followed soon after, not at him, but at herself. How could she have missed the signs? The long nights of distance, the constant sense that something was amiss, the emotional walls that had begun to grow between them, suddenly, it all made sense. But none of it was easy to accept. The man she had married wasn't the man she thought he was. Ryan's struggle with his transgender identity had been one he had kept hidden for most of his adult life. It wasn't simply about being afraid of what Tiffany would think, it was about fear of rejection, fear of losing the life he had built. As a respected police officer, he had been deeply entrenched in a career and a community that might not understand or accept him. The fear of losing everything was overwhelming. How could he risk everything, including his career and the love of his life, for something so personal and so deeply a part of him? The fallout was immediate and harsh. Tiffany found herself in a whirlwind of emotions: shock, confusion, anger, sadness. She felt betrayed. She felt alone. For years, she had shared her life with a man who had kept this massive secret from her. They had shared intimate moments, their hopes and dreams, their plans for the future. And yet, all of it had been built on a foundation of half-truths. Ryan had never truly allowed her to know him, at least not the way she thought she did. Their relationship was never the same after that day. Conversations turned into arguments, and arguments turned into silence. Tiffany tried to process the information, to understand what Ryan had gone through, but the hurt ran too deep. The feelings of betrayal were compounded by the thought of what she could have done differently, or how she could have been more attuned to the changes in her husband. She had been so focused on the picture-perfect life they had built that she failed to see the cracks beneath the surface. But as difficult as it was to come to terms with Ryan's truth, Tiffany was left with a choice. Could she accept the man her husband had become? Could she move forward, knowing that everything she thought she knew about their life together was a lie? Or would Ryan's secret, the thing that he had kept buried for so long, be the very thing that tore their marriage, and their lives, apart? What Tiffany didn't know was that this revelation was just the beginning. The small, tight-knit community they lived in had no idea of the turmoil within the Carlson home. No one could have foreseen that the secret Ryan had kept for so many years would lead to a tragedy no one could have imagined. Tiffany's world was about to be rocked in ways she couldn't even begin to understand. As Tiffany grappled with the overwhelming emotions of betrayal and confusion, she had to make a decision. Could she forgive Ryan? Could she accept the man he had hidden from her? And could their relationship ever be the same again? But little did Tiffany know, the worst was yet to come. The truth wasn't just going to tear their marriage apart, it would soon tear apart everything in their lives. What came next would shock the small community they had once called home. Imagine this: the person you love more than anyone else, the person you've built a life with, turns to you and tells you something so unexpected, so monumental, that everything you thought you knew about them, and about yourself, changes in an instant. What would you do? Could you forgive them, no matter how painful the truth? Or would the weight of that revelation be too much to bear? Tiffany Carlson found herself facing this exact question when her husband, Ryan, revealed his hidden identity. A secret that shattered their marriage and turned their lives upside down. Could she accept the man she had loved, or was this the end of everything? We want to hear from you. Imagine you were in Tiffany's shoes, how would you respond? Could you move past the lies and start over with someone who had kept such a deep secret from you? Would you be able to trust them again? Take a moment to think about it, and let us know in the comments below. If your partner revealed a hidden truth, how would you react? Would you stay, or would you leave? Comment below. These are the tough questions that every relationship faces. How much truth can we handle before it breaks us apart? In Tiffany's case, what seemed like an unshakable bond between husband and wife quickly crumbled under the weight of a truth that neither of them were ready for. And what about Tiffany herself? Was Ryan's secret too much to handle, or was there a way for her to accept him fully for who he was? What do you think? Was forgiveness possible, or was this betrayal a deal-breaker? Vote now in the poll above. Do you think Tiffany should have accepted Ryan's truth, or was his secret too much to bear? If you're as invested in this story as we are, don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe to our channel so you never miss an update as we continue to follow this heartbreaking case. In our next episode, we'll reveal the shocking twist that no one could have anticipated. Stay tuned, because the truth is far from over. Will Tiffany and Ryan find a way to heal, or will this revelation tear them apart for good? Don't miss the conclusion of this story, coming soon. As the days went on, Tiffany found herself in an unthinkable position. The life she had spent years building, the trust she had placed in her husband, was shattered in an instant. As Ryan's secret continued to unravel, so did Tiffany's grip on the life she thought she knew. The reality of it all, the lies, the deception, the fears, began to gnaw at her from every angle. Could she still live with a man who had concealed a truth so profound, so life-altering, for so long? And if she stayed, what kind of future would she be walking into? Each conversation, each quiet moment, began to feel like a weight, a reminder of the distance between them. Tiffany questioned everything, the small gestures of kindness, the quiet affection, the years they'd shared. Were they all based on a lie? Every hour felt like a battle within her mind, and with every passing day, Tiffany was forced to confront a new, darker reality. Could she ever truly embrace the man Ryan had become, or was the foundation of their relationship too broken to repair? The walls of their marriage, once built on trust, love, and shared dreams, were crumbling, and she was left standing in the debris, unable to rebuild. Then, one fateful night, everything came to a head. Ryan Carlson was found dead in what appeared to be a brutal, senseless act of violence. The scene was horrific, details so shocking that even the officers who arrived at the crime scene were left reeling. Blood, chaos, and fear filled the space where Ryan had once stood as a pillar of their community. But amid the horror, one question remained unanswered: why? The details were sparse, but the implications were devastating. Was this a tragic crime of passion, a violent culmination of the tumultuous truth finally spilling over? Or was there more at play than anyone could comprehend? Was Ryan's past, the very secret that had destroyed his marriage, somehow tied to his death? Who could have done this? Was Tiffany involved, driven by a mixture of betrayal and rage, or was there someone else lurking in the shadows, someone with an even darker motive? As investigators began to piece together the fragments of Ryan's last days, the answers seemed more elusive than ever. What really happened on that night? Who was responsible for the death of Ryan Carlson? Was it the culmination of the years of secrets and lies that finally caught up to him, or was there something else, something even more chilling, beneath the surface? Stay with us as we unravel the mystery behind Ryan Carlson's tragic death, and explore the web of secrets, lies, and motives that led to one of the most shocking crimes this community had ever witnessed. Was Tiffany Carlson's world truly shattered by the truth of her husband's hidden identity, or was there something far more dangerous at play? The answers are closer than we think, but they may be more horrifying than anyone could imagine. As the investigation unfolded, Tiffany found herself sinking into an abyss of emotional turmoil. Ryan's death was tragic, but the discovery of his secret, the truth about who he really was, created a void within her that she couldn't quite fill. It wasn't just the grief of losing her husband to an act of violence. It was the weight of realizing she had spent years with a man who, at his core, had been living a life that was not his own. A life built on a facade, one she was completely unaware of. Tiffany had loved Ryan. She had admired him, trusted him, and built a future with him. And yet, the truth had shattered that future beyond repair. It wasn't just about the lies he'd kept from her, it was the deeper, more painful realization that she had never truly known the man she had spent so many years with. The emotional devastation wasn't just the pain of losing a husband, but of losing the person who, for so long, had been the center of her life. And now, that person was gone. What remained in his place was the dark reality of the secret he had kept hidden for so long. As days turned into weeks, Tiffany's heartache deepened. She couldn't help but replay the moments, the conversations, the seemingly small gestures from Ryan that once felt like symbols of love and devotion. Had they all been lies? Was her entire marriage nothing more than a carefully crafted illusion? Could she ever trust again? These were questions that would haunt her long after the investigation into Ryan's murder had come to a close. But the emotional strain wasn't confined to Tiffany alone. Everyone who had known them, friends, family, even the community that had respected Ryan, was now left grappling with the same question: who was Ryan Carlson? And how could someone so well respected, someone who had spent his life serving and protecting others, have lived a lie so deep that it ultimately led to his violent death? What happens when trust is broken at the deepest level? It's not just about the lies that were told, it's about the identity that's been altered, the connection that's been severed. Tiffany's grief was multifaceted, layered in ways she couldn't even begin to comprehend. She wasn't just mourning her husband's death, she was mourning the loss of a version of herself that no longer existed. The woman she had been, the one who had built a life around Ryan and their shared dreams, was now left adrift in the aftermath of betrayal. The loss of trust wasn't just an emotional wound. It was an existential one. The world she had known, the person she thought she knew, had been completely upended. And now, Tiffany was faced with not only the pain of loss but the daunting task of reconstructing her identity, her future, and her understanding of the man she had once called her partner. The psychological toll of betrayal is not easily understood by those who haven't experienced it. The questions that linger in the mind, the self-doubt, the inability to reconcile the image of the man she had loved with the person who had kept a secret so profound, it all added to the overwhelming weight of grief. Tiffany's heartache was not just about losing her husband. It was about the shattering of a version of her life, a version she had thought was unshakable. And with Ryan's death came the haunting truth: she had been living in the shadows of a man she could never fully know. This wasn't just about betrayal, it was about the loss of trust, of self, and of love. And as Tiffany stood at the crossroads of her grief, she realized that the answers she sought might never fully satisfy the emptiness inside. For in the end, no one could ever really prepare her for the toll that uncovering the truth had taken on her life. What Tiffany experienced was a journey of profound emotional turmoil, the kind that changes a person forever. It wasn't just the end of a marriage, it was the loss of a future, a hope, and a love that once felt invincible. The murder of Ryan Carlson had left behind more than just a crime scene. It had left behind a wreckage of emotions, and a woman forced to face the brutal truth that sometimes, the hardest part of all is learning who the people closest to you truly are. Though Tiffany was left in the wreckage of her past, the answers she sought wouldn't come easily. As the investigation continued, one question remained at the heart of everything: was Ryan's secret the real cause of his death, or was there something deeper lurking beneath the surface of this tragic crime? In the end, the murder of Ryan Carlson wasn't just about the one secret that shattered Tiffany's life. It was about the unraveling of everything she had once believed. For Tiffany, the reality of the situation went beyond the shock of Ryan's hidden identity. It was about the emotional toll of a life built on lies, deception, and unspoken truths. It was about the cost of living in fear of rejection, and the devastating impact that fear had on not just Ryan, but on everyone around him. The truth, when it finally came to light, was as much about Ryan's internal battle as it was about the external consequences that unfolded that night. As the investigation concluded, Tiffany was left with a hollow emptiness. There were no clear answers, only a lingering series of questions. What really happened that night? Was it the years of deception, the hidden truth, or the emotional weight of Ryan's secret that pushed someone to the point of violence? Was it the betrayal, both personal and public, that led to his tragic end? Could any of this have been avoided if Ryan had been honest from the beginning? If the secret he had carried had been revealed, would it have saved his life? Or was this tragedy simply inevitable, no matter when the truth was exposed? In the aftermath, Tiffany was forced to come to terms with more than just the loss of her husband. She had to reconcile the image she had of Ryan with the man he truly was, someone she never fully understood. The consequences of a life lived in shadows had left behind a trail of destruction, and Tiffany was left standing at the wreckage, searching for the truth that seemed to be just out of reach. What do you think? Was Ryan's secret truly the cause of his death? Or was there something more at play here than anyone realized? Was it the betrayal of trust that led to this tragedy? Or was there something deeper, something no one could have predicted, that pushed this story to its chilling conclusion? Let us know your theories in the comments below. If you found this story as gripping as we did, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more chilling true crime tales. We'll continue to bring you the mysteries, the heartache, and the dark truths that lie behind the headlines. And don't miss our next episode. We'll be exploring another case where a hidden life led to shocking consequences. Stay tuned as we unravel more mysteries that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew.